What's up, everybody? Kind of pre-recording the first part of this watch review. The one that's been on, it's a company called Certina. So while I'm waiting for it to arrive today, it's supposed to be arriving yesterday through one-day shipping through UPS, but as is the case with about 1/3 of the things that I order online. Doesn't matter the vendor, doesn't matter if it's a watch, if it's motor oil, if it's Amazon, if it's delivered FedEx, post office. 1 out of every 3 packages for me is, my wife is like, I don't know how you do this, but 1 out of 3 are late or lost consistently for years. So anyway, if you don't want to hear the history of Certina, if you're like, hey, I know all there is about Certina, let's just get to the damn watch. That's cool. Fast forward to the 5 or 6 minute mark. This piece I'll record and then I'll splice them together. So I've ordered a Certina that I've been looking at for a while. It's a brand that was on my watch list. It's a brand that are actually really popular globally, relatively unknown in the US unless you're into watches. They're actually part of these guys, the Swatch Group. Now, if you're not really into watches, you might go, part of the Swatch Group? Well, those are those cheap plastic watches, right? Well, this is plastic, but it's $270. This is the Omega, which should tell you something about the Swatch Group. So the Swatch Group owns a lot of companies. They have a very diverse portfolio, and they have a ladder starting with the, well, a regular Swatch, let's say a $60 Swatch plastic watch, going up to some other pretty big names in the industry. Swatch owns Tissot, of which I have several Swiss-made Tissots. Love them. Great one. This is the T-Race. Fantastic freaking watch. Motorcycle racing specifically inspired. They also own Hamilton. So I've got an example here of a Jazzmaster Open Heart Automatic with a deep blue bezel to go, or a deep blue strap to go with that. They also own Longines, another really good, respected Swiss watch company. They also own, which I don't have examples of these yet, Rado, Mido, Omega, Glashütte Original, Blancpain, and Harry Winston, and 2 brands that are unbelievably cool. Jaquet Droz. I found one of their watches on their website. It's around $490,000 or francs, Swiss francs. Breguet, or Breguet, company that's been around for 250 years. I saw one of their watches was $270,000. The one that was just this amazing double tourbillon, it said call for pricing. And when a company that already has watches advertised at well over $250,000 puts call for pricing, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. So basically, they go from plastic watches that we all grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know, playing with these things, up to watches that cost more than your house. That's what the Swatch Group is. So Certina, while not very well known in the US because they have very few ADs here, authorized dealers, and they just don't seem to push them much here, very well respected in Europe and elsewhere. And it's a very common name over there. So where it fits in the hierarchy is you have Swatch at the low end, and believe it or not, Tissot's at their low end, even though you can spend a couple grand on a Tissot, and these are very high value quality Swiss watches. Compared to these other names, these guys are small potatoes, not in volume or market share, but just as far as what they're putting out in pricing. And of course, you got Hamilton and Longines, where I would put Certina, from everything I've been looking online and reading up on. Certina kind of falls in between Tissot and maybe sits on par with Hamilton, but maybe just under Longines. That's where they fit in their pricing and where they are. And they do this for a reason. They have different tiers. And there's a reason why they have Longines and Omega, because where Longines pricing starts to top out is where Omega kind of starts. They don't want a lot of brands that are direct competitors to each other. because people are going to typically buy one or the other. They'd rather have one down here and one up here so that someone will buy the lower one or they'll buy the higher one, but they won't cannibalize sales from each other. They're addressing different market segments, if you will. So Certina has some really cool watches. They've got some 1,000-meter dive watches and just, some insane stuff. But they're also high value, like Tissot, like Longines. They're not terribly expensive. So I picked one up, and we're going to go into that one in a minute. We'll go through the details. It is a GMT. It's a DS Podium GMT. It is quartz. It's very cool. I'm going to compare it to another GMT that I got here, the Seiko with the green and black. But that's a little bit about Certina. They've been around since 1888. They have a 130-year history. They are a well-respected, quality Swiss brand that is favored by people like Teddy Baldessar and Kevin O'Leary and a lot of others. So that's a little background. I told you to try to hit the 6-minute mark. So at this point, let's stop talking about Certina and where they fit within the Swatch portfolio, and let's get down to the watch.
And so now we are looking at the watch. So, well, we're looking at the watch box. So we're going to open it up together and check it all out here. It's actually the next day from the first part of the video just watch because UPS delivered it a day late. Almost didn't deliver it that second day. I was going to bed and someone knocked on the door. I'm like, really, dude? You guys cannot do your fucking jobs. Anyway, here we have the watch box. So it is from a company called Certina. They're all about recycling, being Swiss and European. Everything's about sustainability and all that stuff. Whatever. It's a nice enough box. It is all cardboard and stuff like that, which doesn't feel very premium, but I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because, well, it's all recyclable. All right, fine. It does make it feel less premium, but that's okay. So there it is. It's kind of a cool box. I mean, I don't know what count on me means. I will say that for a cardboard box, it's actually done really nice. It is nice looking. So in the cardboard box world, it's kind of premium. But then, compared to my Corvo y Sobrinos, which was like a $200 hand rubbed wooden giant cigar humidor with hydrometers in it, and it's like super swank, but obviously you're not going to get that here. I got that with a $5,000 watch. So in the box, I've already had to take out a few links. You got some silica gel in case you get a little peckish and want a snack. You can scan and get your warranty information, stuff from the QR code. This is a COSC certified chronometer, which is kind of cool. We'll talk about that. So you've got your international warranty. It's only a year. Watches don't seem to carry much in the way of warranties. Maybe really high-end ones do, but most other ones are like 1, 2, 3 years. My lives are 5 years. So here you've got your warranty conditions, and don't know what else is in there. Let's see. The instructions I got were online. You scan the QR codes. Comes with your little retail tag. It also comes with the certified chronometer. So it gives whatever information for your COSC certified watch. Set that aside. It is pretty. Yeah, it's nice. I guess we'll get into that. Butterfly clasp. I did remove 3 links, and it does have half links. So it's a pretty nice butterfly clasp. Looks pretty good. Nice positive clicks. Not a lot of wiggle or anything like that. So looks pretty damn good. Let us run down the specs for you, because some people get really like, what's the specs? Well, you could just go and, read them on the website, but that's all right. I want to do them for you because I'm a giving person. I like to give people what they want. So 41 millimeter case diameter. Thickness, a svelte 10.4. It is 316L stainless steel. It is round. The case back is solid because this is a quartz model. And I'm fine with that. Most of the time, I prefer quartz. Unless I'm spending a lot of money on a watch, I don't really care about the movement. Some people are movement snobs. The movement to me is less important than anything. I know some people, it's all about the movement. To me, it's not. It's about the aesthetic. It's about the reliability. It's about the design. The movement is just how it achieves telling the time. Well, they can all do that. A $12 watch will tell the time. So for me to pay, crazy amounts of money, I'll pay a lot of money for a cool design that I like, but I'm not worried as long as it's a reliable and accurate movement. It just doesn't matter to me. Anyway, bandwidth. Your lug width right here is 20 mil. It says clasp is fold over with push button release, but this is actually a butterfly clasp. Dial type black. It is sapphire. It does have lume. We'll do a lume check at some point. Arabic numerals appear 12 o'clock positions, blah, blah, blah. Now, what this is and why I liked it is a GMT. It's a 24-hour GMT. So the model is it's a brand of Certina. The model is the DS Podium. If you want to get down into this exact model, it is the Charlie 034.455.11.057.00, if that matters to you. It is Swiss made, it is quartz, and it uses an ETA caliber F as in Frank 06.421, 100 meter water resistance. And that's about it. I did get this through Joma Shop. It was the last one they had. It is new. It is certified and verified and all that kind of stuff from Joma Shop. I only paid $218 for it. Now, normally, if you go on their website, they're somewhere up around $450 or whatever. So still a very affordable watch. But getting it for half price, hey, I'll take it. So here's what I thought was neat about it. I'll be honest, I don't have that much of a use for a GMT. But it is neat. So if you do travel, it is nice to be able to set your GMT for the time at home, and then you set your main clock for wherever you are. And that way you can refer back and go, oh, before I call somebody, let me see what time it is back home. Or if something's going on at work, whatever it is. Here's what I liked about it. One, the design of the watch is very reminiscent of an Explorer 2 from Rolex. It's about the right size. It's around the same. I mean, it looks very similar without being an homage. It does have the outer bezel that is doesn't rotate or anything like that, which the Explorer 2 has. Although the Explorer 2 is not in minutes, it would be in in hours. The GMT being over here on the complication, that to me was interesting. So I've got my only other GMT that I have, currently anyway, and that is a Seiko, I don't remember what the SSK or whatever this one is. This one, however, is an automatic, not a screw-down crown, neither is that. Also 100 meter water resistance. The issue that I have with most GMTs is that you look at the time, but you have 2-hour hands. Now, they're slightly different shapes and lengths, but still, sometimes it's confusing. You might look at this right now and say, well, is it 8:42 or is this the hour hand and it's, it's 4:42 in the morning. I can assure you I'm not up that early doing this for you. So when I look at a normal GMT, sometimes at a glance, you're kind of like, well, that hand stands out more than the actual hour hand does. And so it just, when you just look at the watch, it's almost like you have to, well, let me look and see which hand. Okay, that's what time. Whereas here, you look at this and you can tell very easily it's 8:43 now. The hour hand the minute hand is actually over the hour hand is what you're seeing right there. And then you've got your second hand. The GMT, get this to focus, is red and it has its own complication. That to me is kind of cool. Now, the only time that becomes not an issue, but I would say isn't as optimal, is when the minute and hour hands are covering that complication. But you could get the same thing here where there could be a time of day where these are all kind of on top of each other. So it's just, when you have multiple hands going on, They could be covering each other up, and that could make it a little bit less, less discernible to see what time it is. But I do like having the little. Let's bring it up really close. It's like a little outline of the globe, indicating, hey, world time, and you've got your 24-hour time there. I tend to use it unless I'm actually traveling for some reason, where I'm going to be gone for a week. I just use it, and I use it for the 24-hour time, so that I don't know if there was a reason to have to know military time or 24-hour time. I got a debate the other day. Someone said, "You're calling it military time. It's over. It's the same goddamn thing. The only difference between military time and 24-hour time is that military time doesn't put a colon. They just say 0800 or 1200 or 1400 instead of 60. When you say it, it's the same thing. When you put it in writing, it just one has the colon and one doesn't. Well, you're on an analog watch, so neither of them have a colon. So I use the terms interchangeably, so you can just deal with it. What was I saying? Yeah, so anyway, you got your GMT there. I like that it's offset. I like that you have your date over here. Setting was fairly easy. It is not a screw down crown. When you pull it out to the third position, so it's in position 1, then a middle position is 2, and then all the way out is 3. When you pull it all the way out, you set your GMT hour and your minutes. Then you push the crown back into the middle position, and the regular hour jumps really quickly. So you set your actual hour where you are on the middle part of the crown, and what you do is, and then your other one will, kind of move with that, or it stays put, and then you set your current time, and then after that, they will all move together. So, and that's how you get your date set as well. So you can jump through days really fastly. Instead of having to whip the minute hand around, the hour hand whips around really quick. So you don't set the date individually from the hours. They're combined, but it is still pretty fast. Unless it's the first and then you got to set it for the 27th. You will sit there for a minute wanting, to get it around. But without going to a fourth position and changing the movement, that was just how they came up with it. This is COSC certified, which means it's got to be accurate to, I don't know, was it 4 seconds a day or something like that. So, which, with quartz isn't, to be honest, isn't all that hard. With an automatic, it's harder to get something that accurate. So it's a very accurate quartz watch. We'll do some close-up shots. We'll put it on the wrist. But you've got your brushed machining on the brushed surface on the sides, your finish. And then the edges, to give it a contrast, is highly polished. On the front, you've got brushed, but then highly polished coming down the center line that ties into the bezel. Your crown has just a simple adornment of the logo there. Now the back is kind of cool, and I do like the butterfly clasp. The back has got a big turtle on it. Their history, with diving and stuff like that, they're a very well respected, brand, as we already covered in the first part of the video. But they do a lot of ocean conservation and things like that. So it's a very nice ornamental back. Don't wear the watch too tight, or you might have an imprint of a turtle on your wrist. It is a butterfly clasp, which I think looks fantastic, but it is my least favorite of the clasps. And the reason is because a lot of times it's hard to get it to fit just right. So I do say this one works well because you do have 2 half links. So the problem with, obviously, with the butterfly clasp is that, unlike a fold over clasp, you don't get the micro adjusts where you can get it close enough. You size it so it's in one of the middle holes and it's close. And then you can go up or down 1 or 2 to dial it in perfect, or even adjust based on the season or the temperature. When it's cold, skin tends to contract. When it's hot and then humid out, you tend to swell a little bit. So here you do have half links. You don't have any micro adjusts, but with the half links, it does make that tolerable. So that's how it looks on the wrist. It's 41 mil, which should be just about the same size as that. I like that it's clean. I like that without this bigger bezel, it gives you more dial space. I think the black and the silver is, again, very classy. But then you do break it up a little bit with some white on the complication for the GMT, as well as the red on the GMT hand, which now you can start to see poking out there. Overall, really nice watch, considering what I paid for it. I mean, these are solid end links. Really, really nice quality bracelet. This does not feel like a $200 watch. I got it because I got it. It was a leftover. And I think they may have even discontinued because I don't see this one on their website anymore. I see it with a leather strap. So I think I just happened to score a really, really killer deal. The other thing we're talking about, sustainability and all that kind of stuff in the packaging is instead of just a piece of foam pillow that the watch sits on that you kind of never use for anything, this is made from recycled, reclaimed plastic from the ocean that they then repurpose and melt down and turn into fibers. And they repurpose it to make a watch carrying case or, whatever. You put, maybe you can put a smaller cell phone in there. It's just a nice little carry case. And that goes, yeah, so I can kind of respect that. When I hear about sustainability, a lot of companies do it just for good feelings. I'm not getting into climate change and stuff, but I mean, at one point I was working at a software company that was talking about how they were going through all the marketing things, how companies want to do business with companies that are sustainable. And so there was this huge initiative. I'm like, what do you mean sustainable? You sell software. Like, you're not like out there creating engines and you're going to make a new engine that has less pollution or something. You're writing code. What are you talking about? But that's how people think, right? If you say you're sustainable, then a portion of the society will go, oh, I want to do business with you, even if you're not actually sustainable, whatever. But that's actually kind of useful. Like, instead of just giving you a stupid pillow that you throw in the box and throw in a closet somewhere, it's like, well, I can actually use this for something. I mean, it's fairly tough. It's made of plastic, so it's not going to tear easily. So that's kind of cool. I'm like, I could find a use for that. I mean, if you're traveling and you want to put, you carry a couple watches, you're wearing one, you could take that watch and you could put it in there, and now it's in a nice little padded thing, and you can throw that in your suitcase, and it doesn't really take up any space. So that's kind of cool. I can respect that. What am I going to do with it? I'm probably just going to put it in the box because I don't really have a use for it. But there you have it. I really like the design. I have 7.3-inch wrists. I had to take out three links to get this to fit me. So what I might do is, because that's slightly now off center because I had to remove more links from one side than the other, I might take the half link from this side and put it over there. But yeah, that is very, very nice. I was curious. I've never had a Certina, didn't know much about them, but I'm kind of glad that I picked that up. I think that if you wanted a GMT, they've got a bunch of things. They've got dive watch. Certina's got some nice stuff. Some of them run up into a couple $1,000s and stuff, but a lot of their stuff is in that $500 to $1,000. So very, very reasonable, right in there with Tissot, low end of Longines, and that's where I was saying they kind of fit in between Tissot and Longines and Hamilton. So they're right in there. It's a proper Swiss watchmaker. They've been around for 130 years. They've got a rich history. I have no faults I can see with this thing. So there you have it. That is the Certina. And if you're not familiar with the brand, check them out. I'll put the link to their website in the description, and see if you like what they've got.